Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show. Real talk, big opinions, and fearless conversations. From the front lines of politics to the latest in pop culture. From breaking sports headlines to the stories that move the world. Nothing's off limits, and nobody's holding back. Arrington Gavin is here to break it down, build it up, and keep it all the way real. So turn it up, lean in, and let's get into it. This is the Arrington Gavin Show.
What is happening, family? Welcome to the Arrington Gavin Show, your go-to spot for sharp insights, bold opinions, and unfiltered takes on the biggest stories of the day, whether it is politics, sports, pop culture, or the latest buzz. Look, we're diving deep and keeping it real. So please do me a favor, kick back, stay informed, and get ready to join the conversation. Look, my friends, on today's conversation, we're going to talk a little bit about the recent, give a little post review of the recent debate for Virginia Attorney General. Now, I get it. Look, we have a lot of listeners from the state, outside the state, and you're probably saying, like, why do you want to? Because let's not forget the national news that this election, the national news that this election had because of the Democratic candidate Jay Jones. With the text scandal that was national news, and I spoke about it, before. You can look it up. Jay Jones, former Virginia state delegate, now Democratic nominee for Attorney General for the state of Virginia, was on a text thread where the messaging was very disturbing, and it has brought, in my opinion, it has put a dent in his campaign, especially for Democratic voters. Now, recently I had the Virginia Beach chairman on, Mr. Sean Montario, and it was a great conversation. Obviously, he shared why not only he but the Democrats of Virginia are standing by, the Democratic Party of Virginia Beach is standing by their candidate in Jay Jones, and not just them, but tons of Democratic voters and Democratic politicians are standing by Jay Jones. And I get it. I understand. Jay really, before this occurred, has had quite a successful track record as an elected official. Comes from a well-respected legacy. And so it was a bit out of the ordinary, but I cannot lie and say that if I was a voter, now I'm having hesitancy with my vote, because, especially as an independent, right? On one aisle, I see a gentleman who's going to listen whatever Trump, basically, in this administration tells him to do, which to an extent you can put up the battle, but it's gonna be a lot of work. But still, this man has an agenda in Jason Myers, and then you have one person that is putting the effort to put up a fight and say, no, that's not going to benefit the American people. So I get it. On paper, it's like, okay, Jason might be more my guy, but wait, hold up. We're in a climate now where political violence is still a top discussion in the in the political discussion, in a sense, right? You have the right accusing the left of starting political violence. Then you have a candidate running for the highest law enforcement, position in law enforcement, and he's out telling messages like 2 bullets for a colleague. Like, wait, whoa, what? So I get it. To me, it was very dumb. I think it's going to hurt his campaign in the long run. Personally, I really do. Just because all you need is that one hiccup, that one scandal that can affect an election. Am I lying? No, I'm not. So we're going to talk a little bit about the recent debate that they had. I'll play a couple of sound bites. I wanted to play it on the last show, but didn't have the time to. So we'll share a little bit about that. Also, sports journalist turned political commentator, Stephen A. Smith, successful man, by the way. This man has 3 shows. You hear me? 3 shows. Executive producer and host of First Take, which is the highest rated sports show on ESPN. Then you have his weekday program on Mad Dog, Sirius XM, Mad Dog Sports, Sirius XM, Stephen A. Smith Show. In addition to that, he has a weekly show called Straight Shooter with Stephen A. Smith on POTUS on Sirius XM. The man is rolling. Personally, I'm a fan, and I've defended Stephen A. Smith in some conversations. I am a fan. I've always respected his commentary. What I like about Stephen A. is he's gonna say what's on his mind. Sorry, but he's gonna say what's on his mind. He's gonna say what folks are somewhat thinking, but he's going to say it without hesitation. He's a great debater. To me, he's fair. The reason why I'm bringing him up is because recently he shared his thoughts about Jasmine Crocket. He shared almost a question / suggestion that folks on the left, specifically a lot of black folks, a lot of our people within our culture, did not appreciate. And I'll just be honest, Stephen A. is not a well-liked individual in the surrounding black community. You have a lot of folks that have mixed reviews about Stephen A. Smith. I don't see the issue personally. I can see the fact that, hey, look, he's a critic, and sometimes critics can be annoying, but the man makes what, over 10 million a year off of being a critic. So obviously he's good at it. It's something good about that. Something he does a great job of when he does. So anyways, folks were not happy the fact that he had, again, criticized Jasmine Crocket, Texas Congresswoman, and so you had so many other folks like Willie D, podcaster Willie D. You had folks from the Native Land podcast, Bakari Sellers. I think all of them. Bakari Sellers, who's a CNN contributor, CNN commentator, and former elected official out of South Carolina. You had Tiffany Cross, former MSNBC host. You had Angela Rye, all right, another former CNN commentator, contributor. And then also you had former Tallahassee mayor and former gubernatorial candidate for the state of Florida in Andrew Gillum. And so they shared their frustration. I believe Stephen Jackson, D.L. Hughley, everybody has been attacking Stephen A. Smith. Stephen A. has his program where he responded, and I'll talk a little more about that. Let's see. Also, I want to discuss George Santos, former congressman out of New York, a disgraced congresswoman, by the way, who was expelled from Congress because he turned out everything he said prior to being elected was a lie. So bad, the fact that he got charged, he was indicted and charged and sentenced to serve 7 years in prison. But all of a sudden, he's a free man? What? Somebody got to explain this to me. We're going to talk about it, y'all. We're going to talk about it here on the Arrington Gavin Show. As always, my friends, thank you so much for sticking with us, and thank you so much for just being awesome. Okay, for just being awesome. We got a lot of show for you here. For those who are tuning into the program by way of YouTube, please do me a favor, like, subscribe, share with a friend, share with family. I truly appreciate that. We want to continue to build up those subscribers. We want to continue to build up those listeners. We have got to continue to put out the great message of just great conversation. Here on this program, we have fun. We're laid back. We also want to inform you all, because too many people in our society is not informed and not up to speed of what's happening in our society, in our political climate. Set aside, there's other, we discuss sports, we discuss sports news, let's see, what else pop culture, entertainment, you name it, we discuss it here on the program. Something you see across your digital feed, we're going to discuss it here on the Arrington Gavin Show. But as I mentioned, please like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. I truly appreciate that. In addition to streaming us on YouTube, you can also check out past episodes of the Arrington Gavin Show on Goatverse TV. That's right, Goatverse TV. Ways you can tune into it: you can download the app on the App Store or Google Play Store. You can also download it through Roku as well as Amazon Fire TV. So multiple ways you can get involved and tune into Goatverse TV. I'm not the only program on there. There's filled with so many great content. I'm talking from hip hop debate shows to comic book programs to music, singing, and songwriting competition shows. I mean, it is amazing. And I'm telling you right now, you're missing out if you have not checked it out yet. Please do so. Again, that's Goatverse TV. Let's see. You can listen to the program as well on the go, wherever you get your podcast. We're available on all major podcast platforms. And then lastly, you can also listen to us on the radio airwaves. Shout out to our friends out in New Orleans. Listen to us right now on WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights, Monday through Fridays at 7 p.m. Central Time. Again, that's only on WBOK 12:30 a.m. What New Orleans is talking about. And then we're going to move it on to the Metro Atlanta area to WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. You can tune into the Arrington Gavin Show weeknights at 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And that's again only on WDJY 99.1 FM Straight Talk. All right, friends. Before we get going, you know we love to discuss one of our favorite segments. What is this role and why is it important? All right. So our next role, and you know, this is a segment when we discuss political positions, just to again continue to inform our audience to have an understanding on who serves what is their role, why is it important to me. So I will share on today's program, because we're still in the local side, right? We started off talking about school board, then city manager, then city or town council. Then we shared the mayor's role. Then we went on to share about the treasurer and the commissioner of revenue's role. Then after that was the clerk of the court. And now we're currently on Commonwealth attorney, or in larger metropolitan cities known as the district attorney. So here on this show, I've had Commonwealth attorneys on from multiple cities. I've had the opportunity to have my good friend, Mr. Ramin Fadahi, who is the Commonwealth attorney of Norfolk, Virginia, who's a very strong progressive, which he would let you know, hey, look, I'm not ashamed to express my views. Had a great, he friend of the show. In addition to that, I've had on Chesapeake Commonwealth attorney Matt Hamill, who's currently running for re-election as well. So their position, they are the chief local prosecutor who represents the government in criminal cases. Okay, chief local. So I mentioned district attorneys. So district attorneys, you hear right now on the news, folks like Letitia James, right? Or oh man, was Alvin Braggs, was he assistant DA? Let me see. I think he might have been assistant DA, but Letitia. Oh, I apologize, Letitia. I'm sorry, Letitia. I put you down on a. She is the attorney general for New York. So Alvin Braggs is the I'm pretty sure he was the DA. I'm pretty sure he was the DA. Let's see. Let me see if I spell that right. Yes, he was the Manhattan district attorney. Alvin Braggs is. So Letitia James is the attorney general for New York. So forgive me on that miscommunications there, but yes, they are the chief local prosecutor. So if you watch Law and Order, like myself, Law and Order SVU, you have the role that what's her name, Liv have, and she's always going straight to the attorney's office. They are the DA or sometimes assistant DA, so they are very involved with the role and all the crimes that happen within their city. So that is our segment, and then we're gonna head to a quick commercial break, my friends. Look, you're listening to the Arrington Gavin Show. Please don't go anywhere. We got a lot of great show for you here, and we will be right back after these commercial breaks. Don't change that dial.
Every man has a story to tell. Your ambitions, your achievements, your legacy. Your suit should reflect that story, crafted precisely, designed for impact, and tailored exclusively for you. We work with only the finest fabrics, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends from world-renowned mills in Italy, the UK, and India. These fabrics are the foundation of custom suits that exude elegance and stand the test of time. But a suit isn't just about fabric, it's about fit, and it's about confidence, and it all starts with you. When you work with me, you'll receive a personalized consultation, whether in person or over Zoom. Together, we'll explore your vision and discuss your needs, and we're gonna bring your ideas to life. My journey as a designer includes apprenticing under New York-based designer Clavon Leonard, showcasing collections at New York Fashion Week, Algeria Fashion Week, and the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. That experience is what we bring to every suit we create, from weddings to corporate events and everything in between. We specialize in crafting one-of-a-kind suits for life's most significant moments. Dapper Luke has been recognized as one of Baltimore's best menswear in 2023, and I was honored to be one of the 10 designers selected for the prestigious Baltimore Met Gala. With over 900 satisfied clients, we proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore, bringing world-class designs to these incredible communities. We don't just make suits, we craft confidence. Your suit will fit your body, your style, and it will tell your story. Book your free online personal consultation today. Visit www.dapperluke.com.
Order your beard care products with Rugged Evolution. We're your local beard care line that supports the maintenance of your full, mature beard. Our line includes conditioning shampoos, moisturizers, balms, oils, shaving lotions, and exfoliating soaps. These products moisturize, hydrate, nourish, and have all the natural ingredients for a healthy beard. Log on to our website or download our app to place your orders. Become a man of distinction with Rugged Evolution Beard Care. And remember,
Rugged is the new smooth.
And we still in traffic.
Don't look familiar, do I? Not in this seat.
Hey, what's that you listening to?
Here to host today.
Hey, turn it up.
Yeah, that's that new Goldverse app. I got you.
So y'all want to know where the goats are? They're off on the sidelines.
Looking for fresh, relevant content wherever you go?
What was the name of the app he said?
Introducing Goatverse TV.
Goatverse, that's what it's called.
The free streaming app that brings you the best podcasts, current events, and thought-provoking opinions all in one place. Download it now from the Apple Store or Play Store. In Goats, we trust.
All right, my friends, welcome back to the Arrington Gavin Show. I'm your friend, your host, Arrington Gavin here. Look, I want to discuss a recap of the recent Attorney General debate between incumbent. This is for Virginia Attorney General, by the way. Incumbent Jason Mayers, Republican nominee and incumbent, and then also his challenger is Jay Jones, former state delegate Jay Jones, who is the Democratic candidate. Now, Jay Jones recently found himself in some hot water after an old text thread resurfaced of him saying some quite disturbing and just very, very, very awful words, where he, I mean, it was like wishing harm on a colleague. It was, 2 bullets to the head. Matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up the direct quote, because I don't want to kind of let's see here. So a violent text resurfaced in 2022 where Jones sent a private message to a Republican delegate in which he mused about violence towards the then House Speaker Todd Gilbert, saying things like Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head. He also referred worse dictators like Hitler or Pol Pot in relations to Gilbert in those texts. Obviously, it received backlash. So many folks mostly folks on the right, has pushed for him to drop out the race, and even for the Democratic movement to say, you gotta tell him to resign. He can't succeed this race, not when he's running for the highest level in law enforcement. How can someone say words like this and expect that he will do the job correctly? Which, hey, I can't disagree with that, because how irresponsible can you be to say some crazy words like this? And I will share the same type of thought process. I'll feel the same type of way if it was a Republican that said it. No one, right or left, should ever say words like that. I don't care if you are figure of speech. It's stupid. That's crazy. Why would you say something like that? Especially as an elected official. And so since then, Jones has apologized, but it's added ammunition for the right because they've already obviously made that into a commercial. They're continuing to bring that out because, see, and I'll break this down for you because I'm a lifelong Virginia resident, and so the left was in higher polling probably since the primary session. Like they were always in high polling. Abigail Spanberger, Gonzala Hashmin, who's running for lieutenant governor, and then Jay Jones. They were all in higher polling numbers. Now, when it gets closer towards general election and early voting, you start seeing the smear campaigns or try and find some kind of dirt on these candidates. The first hit piece that they put out was Jay Jones had recently received a ticket or was facing jail time because he drove 116 miles per hour. He was speeding 116 miles per hour, extremely fast. That's reckless driving. That's extremely reckless. And I get it. Again, you're an attorney. Your job is to prosecute crime. You committed a crime, but something like that, harmless, to me, that's in a case, especially if it was a one-time thing. Okay, brush it off, did his time, suffered the consequences. Okay, kept it moving. Now, when the second thing came up, it's like, this is worse. All right, this is worse. Republicans, including President Trump, called for Jones to exit the race. So now you got the president who has been repeating this story. Why? Because he was the guy that said the radical left is the reason why Charlie Kirk is no longer with us. And so hearing about this story is helping Trump's case, in my opinion. Some Democrats have distanced themselves or refused to explicitly call for his withdrawal, leaving him again in a political precarious position. Now, there has been tons of support that is standing behind Jay Jones. Now, you have not seen people or politicians continue to publicly. I mean, well, I take it back. They still support him because they're like, hey, look, I've known Jay for these amount of years. I know he's a good person. I know what he did was extremely wrong. He's apologized and this and the other, but it's nowhere near, because they continue to do like what's nowhere near as worse as the other side, which I get it. You're here to defend one of your team members, but at the end of the day, I hate when folks say, well, he did the same thing. Mine is nowhere near worse than them. No, stop trying to distract folks from what you did, bro. But anyway, let me go ahead and share a couple of sound bites from that debate. So hold tight as I pull up a couple of highlights from that. We're going to start off with this one from incumbent Republican Jason Myers.
Standard, Jay Jones does not have the experience or the judgment to serve as the top prosecutor. But now we know something else. We have seen a window to who Jay Jones is and the way he thinks of people that disagree with him. Abraham Lincoln said that character is what you do in the dark when no one is watching. But now we know what he was doing in the dark. Jay Jones was angry at Todd Gilbert. Why? Because Todd Gilbert said kind words about a Democrat that had passed away, Joe Johnson. Jay Jones had said that he wanted to piss on the grave of his political opponents. And what did he want to do to Todd Gilbert? 2 bullets to the head. Why? Because he didn't like his politics. What's worse? He wanted Jennifer Gilbert, a mother with 2 small children, ages 2 and 5. He said that he hoped to see their children die in their arms. Why? Because in his own words, he said that pain is the only way that change can occur. By every standard, Jay Jones does not have the experience.
So that right there, my friends, that was incumbent Jason Myers, obviously continuing to share and remind folks of who, in his mind, Jay Jones is. Again, it's politics. They're going to continue to go for the juggler. Now, here's Jay Jones. Here's a highlight clip of Jay Jones during this debate.
Tonight, you're going to hear 2 very different visions for the future of this Commonwealth.
And you're also going to hear from my opponent about text messages that I sent that I deeply, deeply regret. Let me be very clear. I am ashamed. I am embarrassed. And I'm sorry. I am sorry to Speaker Gilbert. I'm sorry to his family. I'm sorry to my family. And I'm sorry to every single Virginian. I cannot take back what I said. But you have my word that I will always be accountable for my mistakes. And you also have my word that I will spend every waking moment fighting for you. Now, again, Jason is going to try to make this race about my mistakes. But this race has always been about more. It's always been about each and every one of you and the future of this Commonwealth. And the stakes of this race are too high for it to be about anything else. Now, tonight, you're going to hear two very different visions for the future.
Now, I'm not gonna lie. In my opinion, because I watched the debate myself, it was a great one. It was far better than the gubernatorial debate between former Virginia Congresswoman Abigail Spanberger and current Lieutenant Governor Winsome Earl Sears. This was a far better debate. Now, obviously, Jay did it. He presented himself as best as he could. He knows that this is going to be an ongoing apology tour in the midst of him also running for Attorney General for the state of Virginia. Again, his words, he said, "I'm ashamed. I'm embarrassed." He's called he's publicly apologized. He's called the family and apologized. My question is, do you think that this could cost him the election? Again, I had on the chairman for the Democratic Virginia Beach Democratic Party, and he had made valid points. Again, they know that, hey, look, bring it on, but at the end of the day, let's talk about the current gentleman's track record. That's what Jay has done as well. So it's like, are people going to say, well, you know what? Jay made a mistake. He's going to have to live with that mistake. He apologized. Move on. But in a climate where views and, especially the person that's going to side most of the time what's happening in Washington, that might not mesh good, especially in Hampton Roads, Virginia, or the state of Virginia, made up of majority government and federal workers. But here's the interesting thing, y'all. Here's an interesting thing. So this reported by The Hill, Jay Jones, following his debate, raised $500,000. Says here, the campaign of Democratic Virginia Attorney General nominee Jay Jones announced he raised $500,000 in less than 24 hours after the Attorney General debate, during which Jones' text scandal took center stage at the University of Richmond. I quote here, "In last night's debate, incumbent Jason Myers couldn't defend the 50 times he failed to protect Virginians as Donald Trump has fired workers, raised costs, attacked abortion rights, and defunded our healthcare, schools, and law enforcement." Jones' campaign manager, Rachel Rothman, said in a press release recently. With just 18 days, was really just a little under 18 days left. She says, "Our campaign is energized and focused. The enthusiasm we're seeing across Virginia makes it clear voters are ready to elect an attorney general who will finally put them first." The haul comes obviously after Jones had been under fire, as I mentioned earlier, about the text that surfaced from 2022, where he made some hateful things in my mind about how former House Speaker Todd Gilbert, former State House Speaker Todd Gilbert. Now the Texas have rolled the state's off years election, with Republicans insisting Democrats call on Jones to end his campaign. Now, there's two things. They're asking him to drop out due to the texting, or to say, hey, look, we know the polling is still not looking good in Mayera's favor, so just go ahead and drop out, just to leave. Just go ahead and leave. Now, look, call a spade a spade. I will say the right is no better. The amount of hateful wording that has come out of Margie Taylor Greene's mouth, Nancy Mace, Lauren Boebert, Jim Jordan, the list goes on and on of the hypocrisy that comes across. Now, personally, I've never heard any of those significant figures use weapons or anything like that. Now, you obviously see a lot of their mouthpieces in the conservative media that has said that, but we're talking about elected officials. Okay, we're talking about candidates. There is a difference. But I think it's quite interesting. I will say, I think it's quite interesting. I think this will be extremely close race. I think it'll be the most talked about race. It might even be larger than the gubernatorial race, especially after this story made headlines. It will be interesting because, see, here's the thing: if he wins, Trump will continue to make his life a living hell. I already see it now. Because he's already talking about him. He mentioned him during a lot of his press releases, and then the recent Medal of Freedom honor, which he honored Charlie Kirk. He also mentioned Jay Jones. I mean, it's the conservative media is having a ball with this. They really are. Because to them, that's their win. That's their L. Like, oh yes, we got them. All he needs is one hiccup. We're good. But we will see, my friends. We will see how it ends up. It's going to be a tight race. Eventually, I'm working on possibly doing a 2-hour special. It's not going to air on any of our radio airways. We will have this on our streaming platform, so our YouTube channel, and Facebook. Hoping to do that live as well. So we will be doing that, and yes, hopefully we will get that going soon. So we will keep you posted with that. But I want to move on, digress from this story, and move it on to another interesting story that has been going viral. Stephen A. Smith. So Stephen A. Smith, as I mentioned, is now building a career in politics. Now, we already know him as the face of sports debate programs. He is the ultimate sports commentator. I believe he's in the top 3. I mean, some folks can arguably say he's number 1, and then what behind him? Who would y'all have? Who would y'all have at a sports debate all around overall? I mean, hey, Mad Dog, Chris Russo, come on. Mad Dog has his own channel on SiriusXM, for crying out loud. He's made a career out of it. Anyway, Stephen A. Smith has a growing career now in politics. He's found himself in some hot water because he had some words to say about Democratic Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crocket. Let me go ahead and play you that clip here, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Jasmine Crocket chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Jasmine Crocket just saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia. Just saying.
So, okay. So you heard it right there. Stephen A basically said, Jasmine, this persona that you bring out 24/7 or when you are in front of a camera is cuss out Trump, insult, 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 and that's it. Now, folks in the culture did not like that, did not appreciate that. Folks like Willie D, and I'm reading what he posted. He said, Stephen A. Smith taking shots at Jasmine Crocket ain't just messy, it's weak. Dude sitting on one of the biggest mics in America, and instead of using it to uplift, he's tearing down a black woman who's out here putting in real work. That ain't critique, that's betrayal. Jasmine Crocket ain't the problem. She's the kind of woman who walks into rooms full of snakes and makes the snakes flinch. Meanwhile, Stephen A. showing us what happens when the paycheck gets louder than the principal. That's some sucker. You know what? Straight up. Okay. So in response to Willie D, obviously Stephen A. did not like that, and you can look at some of his past programs where he responds to everybody. What I heard, and that's my honest opinion, what I heard was, yes, I don't think it was a question. I do think it was a suggestion. That was his opinion to say, look, Jasmine, you are an extremely accomplished woman. And he shares that on his program. You are an accomplished person. You're an attorney. You're this, you're that. Let's read about your, bills, your success stories in office, in Congress. But it is like when you do see her or interview her, but I feel like that's not just her. I think that's all politicians. When politicians are on these mainstream media programs, whether it's CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, you name it, Newsmax, News Nation, they're here to answer a question from a reporter that says whether if they're a Democratic official, they're going to ask them a question like, what is the right doing, or like what is the left doing in order to approve this? They will answer and they'll be like, well, here's the thing. Like, to me, I've never seen her like avoid answering what certain strategy this and X, Y, and Z is. Do I think that Jasmine Crocket can go a little overboard with, like, hey, all you need is one viral moment. And she had that viral moment where she went toe to toe with Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I loved, by the way, because Marjorie Taylor Greene has constantly been the bully, one of the biggest bullies in Congress. And I think that's where folks are a bit frustrated. They're like, okay, Marjorie Taylor Greene insults 24/7. Nancy Mace does the same thing. Why aren't you acknowledging them, but you're acknowledging Jasmine Crocket? Now, here's my take on it. Stephen A. Smith is an independent. He's also not a fan of Trump or the MAGA movement, who's most of them are in charge, right? The Republican Party has a majority in both House and Senate. What Stephen A. is saying is this: if the Democrats are trying to build up a winning strategy since Trump has been in office, the left has come at Trump and insult him, because hey, Trump insults them, they insult him back. They continue to come at, but what he's saying is, does that strategy win elections? I think that's where I got from that. Does that strategy win elections? Yeah, it's cool. It feels good to, insult somebody, especially somebody that you consider a bully. Yeah, I get it. But is that same momentum showing in the polls? Is that because look, she did the same thing for Kamala during the presidential race. Another person, activist Tamika Mallory said, "Black men, I have a question. I see a lot of great commentary from many of you on Stephen A. Smith's ignorant statements. Time and time again. This time he disrespected a powerful black woman. Where was the disrespect? Am I lost? Because I don't think he disrespected her. I don't think he disrespected. Let me try and play it again. Let me try and play it again. Let's see here.
Chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable.
Let me pause right there. So with him saying all she does is this and that and the other, I can see how that can come across as an insult because he's not. But again, if you follow up with because I'm just giving you a clip of what he said. Further on, after hearing the responses, he shares her track record, this and the other, and so many folks are just like attack. Now, here's why I agree with some of the critics that are criticizing Stephen A. But here's why I agree with Stephen A. I do think that everybody should have the right to ask a question. Everybody should have the right to, hell, I make a suggestion about, strategy, or I criticize strategy sometimes on the left. Should I get chewed out because I said, hey, look, I don't think this is winning. What y'all doing is not helping this and that and the other. Focus on this and not X, Y, and Z. Like, because I have a disagreement with someone on the left, do I have to get chewed out? Especially during this climate where at some point it can be a black and white issue, right? So do I get criticized? Tamika Murray has said this time he disrespected a powerful black woman who's putting her life in danger fighting for us. At what point will you all lead the charge to turn him off? I think, again, Stephen A is a controversial figure. He says what's on his mind. He could care less what people think. And the culture is not too fond of that. I don't think what Stephen A says is to misinform people. And I don't think it's a distraction. I think he brings up valid points and suggestions. Again, he speaks as a centrist, like myself. Okay. I truly, and I understand he has a massive platform, but I do not think he's here to misinform, divide, nor do I think what he says is helping the right by any means. He's making a suggestion, and that's that. And I'm not here to be his spokesperson, because look, there's times I disagree with Stephen A. Okay, there's times I truly disagree with Stephen A. But in this case, it's a distraction where the left will put all the attention on this one person that, again, his job is to basically criticize folks that he finds. I don't think it's like, give me a break. Now, if he was left leaning, if he was a Democrat, would they give him the same smoke? Again, he's an independent. It's easier to go after an independent. It is. I just think it's quite interesting. That's all I can say, y'all. I think it is quite interesting that, and Stephen A has shared on his program that, hey, look, I think it's shameful. Stephen A fiercely defended his shameful calls for him to be canceled, which, again, I'm against cancel culture. I think that's one of the dumbest things ever, created in our society is cancel culture. Let's see here. In a special edition of Stephen A. Smith Straight Shooter, the media commentator expressed online critics accusing him of disrespecting a powerful black woman when he questioned whether Crockett's polarizing rhetoric is serving her constituents in Texas and encourage her to work across the aisle. Look, Jasmine Crocket did make a jab at her sitting governor, Greg Abbott, calling him Governor Hot Wheels. Her words, not mine, Governor Hot Wheels. Now, Governor Greg Abbott is paralyzed from the waist down. He's in a wheelchair. Come on now. I say time and time again, politicians are not comedians. I get it. It could be attractive to voters to, this politician has a sense of humor, this and any other. But I don't know. To me, I feel as though you can continue the back and forth rhetoric. To me, gets old. It gets old. Now I get it because, hey, look, you got to come with that smoke because, hey, when one side talks about you, don't back up because I don't want to sound like a hypocrite because I criticize the left on not having the backbone. So look, I get it. Meet them where they are. Meet them where they are. If they want to come after you, hey, boom, come after them too. I quote here, Smith said, "One thing that will never happen, I will never succumb to, I will never surrender to in somebody intimidating and trying to rally folks against me to quell that I have to say, bump that, I ain't built that way." In a 40-minute episode he devoted addressing his criticism. He said, "Facts are facts. Jasmine Crocket is a representative of Texas who I believe heart is in the right place, is incredible passionate, definitely intelligent, and a damn good resume." He continued on saying, "All I'm saying is that at some point in time, when you want to get things done, you got to walk across the aisle and deal with people that you don't want to deal with." Totally agree, because how many times have I said on this program, the world's not going to be built off of all Democratic views. I'm sorry, Dems. That's not the case. You're not going to, the world can't live in one bubble. You have to mix up multiple views and strategies into one. The world can't live off of just Republican views and values. That ain't going to happen. And it can happen. The world can't view off of just independent views. They can. You have to eventually come to agree. And I'm saying this as an independent. You have to come and agree with things. You have to compromise on things. Not everybody, you can't always, remember that song? You can't always get what you want. That's the truth. That's the truth. Sorry for those that think that the world's going to be surrounded by just you and you only. It ain't going to happen. Now, lastly, before we head to a quick break, he was calling for the public to stop supporting, he specifically addressed those calling for the public to stop supporting the show. He said everybody has their thoughts and opinions, okay? And he said, I get that, but to call for a rally for me to be canceled, that's shameful and immature. Adding, he's not going anywhere, and he plans to expand his platform in the future. Smith opened the show by describing what I had to endure during the weekend. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, y'all. It's crazy. But we will continue to talk about this. I mean, am I wrong in a sense? If so, leave a comment. Let me know. I'm curious to get your take. Let's see here. Anything I want to add on to this? Because I'm looking at my time. He replayed the remarks during one of his recent episodes, doubled down on his comments, emphasizing his respect for Crocket while reiterating his concern that her approach is ineffective and plays into GOP talking points. Very true, especially when you have a GOP that continues to say, look at them, all they do is just hate, this, and this kind of rhetoric and yada, yada, which the hypocrisy is they doing the exact same damn thing. They doing the same damn thing. Trump does it. Everybody do it. Everybody do it. Not everybody do it. But anyways, let's go ahead. We're gonna take a breather here. We're gonna take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more here on the Arrington Gavin Show. Don't go anywhere.
Let me tell you something that most people get wrong about suits. A suit isn't just about you wearing it. It's how you show the world who you are. It's your handshake before you say a word, your presence when you step into any room. That's why we design statements at Dapper Luke. We don't just make suits. We'll start with the fabrics that tell your story, luxurious wools, silk, linen, and blends sourced from the finest mills in Italy, the UK, and India. Then we'll combine that with your vision, your personality, and your style. Every detail is tailored to you, from the fit to the finish. Whether for your wedding, a gala, the boardroom, we specialize in creating custom suits that are unique, just like the men who wear them. We spent years perfecting this craft, apprenticing under designers in New York and showcasing collections in New York and for Baltimore Fashion Week. None of that matters as much as seeing the look on your face when you try on your custom suit. Over 900 clients have already trusted us to deliver the best custom suits. They trust me to deliver the confidence. We proudly serve Virginia Beach and Baltimore and would be honored to bring your vision to life next. Let's create something unforgettable. Book your free consultation today at www.dapperluke.com.
You know, just like a winning team evolves throughout the season, so does your beard. I'm Arrington Gavin, proud CEO of Rugged Evolution Beard Care. With our premium oils, balms, and grooming tools, it's everything you need to level up your beard game. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a rookie, Rugged Evolution is the new smooth. Order now and dominate the beard game like never before. Rugged Evolution Beard Care, because every beard deserves to be legendary.
All right, my friends, look here. Last on our list, George Santos. Remember that? Remember that name? George Santos. Wow, I did not think we were ever going to be talking about this guy ever. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be rude, but I just figured like once he was out of I don't know, expelled, basically kicked out of Congress, I thought we was like never going to hear from him. There were rumors that, hey, he was going to run as independent, but he's still Team MAGA all day. He would pop in from time to time. He started a podcast, a very unsuccessful one. And yeah, it's a lot. So let me go ahead and play the clip for you, and we'll talk about that. And it's just, once again, yours truly doing what he does best. And just, yeah, anyway, play the clip.
Good evening. We begin tonight here with the breaking news. We learned just moments ago President Trump has commuted the prison sentence of former New York Congressman George Santos. He'd been convicted of wire fraud and identity theft. Tonight, we have learned he will now go free. Authorities have said he lied about details in his personal life, his professional life, his academic background, and got elected to Congress. Santos had pleaded guilty to those federal charges of wire fraud and identity theft. President Trump posting a short time ago calling Santos a rogue, releasing him from prison immediately and wishing him, in his words, good luck, enjoy your life. Let's get right to our chief White House correspondent, Mary Bruce, leading us off with the breaking news. Mary, what have you learned?
Well, David, the president just moments ago announcing that he has commuted George Santos's sentence, saying he is releasing him from prison immediately. George Santos was sentenced to 7 years after he pleaded guilty to wire fraud and aggravated identity theft. The former congressman admitting he lied to Congress and defrauded donors. Now, during his brief political career, Santos was caught lying about where he went to college, his previous employment, and his charity endeavors. He even claimed his mother died in 9/11 and that his grandparents were Holocaust survivors, claims that were not true. Tonight, though, Trump saying, quote, at least Santos had the courage, conviction, and intelligence to always vote Republican. David.
Mary Bruce on the breaking news live at the White House. Mary, thank you. Good evening. We begin tonight.
Always vote. So, okay. So basically you can break the law, but as long as you vote Republican, it's good. Like, you gotta be kidding me. You have to be kidding me. As long as you vote y'all, this is the issue what I'm talking about here. This is the issue what I'm talking about here. So George Santos was sentenced in April of this year after admitting last year to deceiving donors and stealing the identities of 11 people, including his own family members, to make donations to his campaign. Not only that, he literally lied about everything. You heard the soundbite there. But you know, Trump has a pattern of freeing a lot of criminals. He pardons over 1,500 folks who stormed a government facility, government building, trespassed, but stormed it. I won't even say broke into, stormed it. Now you got this guy who's known, he is in his proof guilty, but he gets commuted. Let me read this real quick. George Santos was somewhat a rogue, but there were many rogues throughout the country that aren't forced to serve 7 years in prison. I started to think about George when the subject of the Democratic Senator Richard Blumenthal, I'm not going to say what he said, came up again. As everyone remembers, Blumenthal stated for almost 20 years that he was a proud Vietnam veteran, having endured the worst of the war, watching the wounded and dead as he raced up the hill. Okay, so he's like saying, well, if Blumenthal is still walking here free, well, Santos should be free as well, because it's no different. Blumenthal is worse. Okay, so that's really what Trump is saying, and he's calling him a complete and total fraud. Now, he says here, they're far worse of what George Santos did. At least Santos had the courage, conviction, and intelligence to always vote Republican. Y'all see, this is that's my frustration here. And you Trump supporters out there say, see, he's putting an end to the division. He's bringing America together. Explain in what way again? Please explain in what way. I don't get it. I will never get it. The fact that Santos is now a free man, which now the question is, what's next? Would he make another run for Congress? He won it the first time. What's stopping him to do it a second time? And he's a free man. Y'all, this is the hypocrisy at its finest, the clown show, the circus. I mean, this is insane. This is insane. Guy breaks the law. He gets a brush off the he doesn't serve anything. But he still gets publicity. He's a household name now. I don't understand, y'all. I don't understand, but what I do understand is that y'all got to continue to tune into the Arrington Gavin show, because we got a lot of great stuff here in store for you. Please continue to support. Get out there, vote. You know, it's election season. If you haven't gone out there and vote yet, please do so. There's big elections happening across our nation. It's a major political climate. And so, look, get out there, stay informed. Get out there and vote, and continue to tune to the Arrington Gavin show. Weeknights available on all digital and streaming platforms. Peace and blessings, y'all. I'm out.
That's it for tonight on the Arrington Gavin Show. Thanks for tapping in and keeping the conversation alive. Don't forget, stay connected with us on all platforms. Follow at Arrington Gavin on Instagram, Blue Sky, and X, and subscribe to the official Substack for exclusive takes and deep dives you won't get anywhere else. We're here every weeknight, same time, same energy, same real talk. Until next time, stay bold, stay sharp, and stay true. That's what we do on the Arrington Gavin Show. Peace.